Hey guys and gals, Dan Young here with Dan's Millionaire Code, and every week I bring to you a mega world-changing Jedi with super courage and superpowers. Why? Because my friends are going to virtually mentor you. Now this podcast does cost money now. Well, not money, but it costs in three ways. One, you got to execute what you learn here. Really important, take notes, execute. Two, share it with friends and loved ones. Three, when you're making the big bucks, as you make more money, take 10% of that profit, give it to a great charity, because when you give back to the universe, though, that's good karma. So make sure that you do that. Today's guest is my super pal and great guy. He's got all these restaurants everywhere. We went downtown and ate. Has the greatest views, Ginger Street, super killer. I'm not going to go, he sent me this super bio here, but I'm going to let him talk about kind of what stuff that he's done. But he's got Utah's Golden Spoon Restaurateur of the Year award. Guy's created over 2,500 jobs, more than 60 restaurants. He just loves helping, giving, creating jobs, inspiring people. I've met a lot of his staff. They got crazy energy, lots of integrity, lots of energy, lots of intelligence. Remember the three things, very important. And so he has his CEO now. It's the McHenry Group. It's Michael McHenry.
Yeah.
Dude, what's up?
Complicated, right?
What's up? No, I mean, it's killer.
Yeah, very cool.
So, man, dude, your restaurants are great. And the one thing that was so impressive is we're kind of coming out of this COVID thing now. A lot of restaurant guys and girls went out of business. And you, freaking turned on the photon torpedoes and went into Warp 12.
Leaned into it, you know. Well, Dan, first and foremost, dude, so dope to be here with you. You've had crazy energy. I've literally, in parallel, obviously being born and raised in Utah, spent many, many years on the road throughout the Southwest, opening many restaurants. However, your energy has been something that I've always been infected by. I think the brilliance of your mind and the fact to be sitting next to you on your podcast right now, from the outside looking in, I've been very much that person looking in at other peers and those industry leaders and disruptors that I'm watching and hearing on your podcast and your videos, and the fact to sit here, I'm just honored to sit here and chop it up with you and tap into your mind.
Let's start really right from the beginning. Before people hear about the crazy battles that you did during this COVID thing. Let's hear about where you come from. What are your roots? And tell us.
I appreciate that. Well, born and raised right here in Salt Lake City. In fact, a suburb close to here. I was born in Sandy, Utah.
Oh, cool.
Grew up here in Utah, and then spent really all of my 20s living across the Southwest, opening restaurants.
Whoa.
Academically, my background is finance. I never found myself to actually come into the restaurant business. I just got a very unique opportunity with some early founders that believed in me and said, hey, we have this idea. Are you willing to join into it? And at a young age, I was like, this was the best deal I could have been offered. I saw this as a unique opportunity, and it just so happened that those individuals were the founders of a brand called Costa Vida, which now has restaurants across the country. And so I got a crazy, opportunity to have some sweat equity, but even more so, the education and opportunity to go in at the ground level of a brand of that quality and its size. It's having some of its most relevant years today. Wow. That's where I cut my teeth. And so I kind of jumped over kind of the personal side of it, being born and raised here and then getting into business. But I immediately, my first go in business was concept creation to market. So I really didn't know any other way than just take an idea, bring it to market, and be relentless in your pursuit of creating success and opportunity for yourself and for others along the way. And, fast forward to 10 years, and I mean, here we are.
Man. Yeah. Dude, the restaurant downtown Ginger Street's really good.
Thank you.
I love it.
Yeah.
COVID, though, was a super butt kicker for a lot of people, and we're still, sort of in it now. A lot of people trying to figure out, well, how do I get back?
Yeah.
Some people just kept going like you, Rocket Ship Man, and myself. But, what we want to see is other entrepreneurs be successful.
Sure.
Right? And maybe share your experience with
I think without question, challenged more than any other time. Most challenging climate of all time, at least in my career, my young career, like we mentioned before on our way in here, I feel like we're both, you feel like you're getting started in many ways. I feel like more energized today in my kind of mid-30s, late 30s than I did in my mid to late 20s. It's wild how that happens over time, but most definitely incredibly challenged. What you're seeing in the restaurant industry, I'm also an executive board member of the Utah Restaurant Association. Nice. So I represent us, over close to 5,000 restaurants in Utah, help be the voice and the connector of, but we saw over 5 550 restaurants and bars close in the state of Utah
that's
through
terrible.
the pandemic. So about 10%. We still fended better than the national average to some extent. But you look at Salt Lake City proper, and really you take the heart of our city, the CBD district of what we do have. And as you know, with big business and remote work and what's happening, those central business districts are basically empty. Right, you're getting somewhat
Ghost town downtown.
Ghost town. You're getting maybe 20% of the daily activation that you once had, back in 2019. And that's even today at the end of what we believe is the tail end of the pandemic state. So to say we were challenged in this climate, I think would be an understatement. It was most definitely devastating for many, and for us, there was this interesting calmness that I had the whole time. Dan, I had something inside my heart and my mind that said, like, you're going to be okay, like, you're safe, you can keep your team safe, and you have a stewardship, but you have a responsibility with that feeling of calmness to create stability and opportunity for your 120 plus team members at the time. And that was a big deal for me. I felt like as someone that could navigate and take care of myself and the decisions I had made leading up to it, I wasn't as concerned, but it was that the 120 or so team members that are counting on the decisions that we make and that I make within our organization to keep food and stability on their own table. So I knew we had to pivot. I knew that locking our doors wasn't an option. Regardless of mandate, not disregarding it. Obviously, we operated safely. It's what's beautiful about the restaurant business. We've been safe and diligent and good stewards of the community's health and the integrity of our restaurants and brands as good operators long before the pandemic, and it'll be that way long after the pandemic, because we also know that we're in a business that can ultimately kill people. If you mismanage in the restaurant business, people get sick and die. Right? It's not like when you mismanage, you lose money, or you mismanage and you have high turnover, you mismanage and you lose margin. In our business, you make mistakes at a grand level, it can ultimately cost someone their lives and ultimately your livelihood. And so we've been high stewards of that in our business anyways. And so leading into it, we knew that we could be safe and operate. And so we pivoted, kept all of our doors open, took our dining room business and pivoted immediately to off-premise and delivery. We launched virtual brands, as well as the Healthy and Full initiative, which was something that really grabbed not only a lot of attention, but a lot of stability in a time when restaurant owners and business owners and retail and large business, they were scared, and oftentimes I felt like some were running for the hills or getting under their couches, and we're opening our doors open going, we'll take care of you. Because in our business, Dan, you count on your neighborhood restaurant and bar during times of crisis.
That's right.
Right?
It's kind of like stress relief, right?
Totally.
Like, go get some
I mean,
good
like
food,
you've seen
drink,
Cheers,
good.
it's timeless. Like you look at the greatest sitcoms are happening, most of them are happening at bar tops and dining rooms. And I knew, and we knew at the McHenry Group and really within our team and culture, that we needed to be that place of normalcy. We needed to be that place that you could count on, that was safe, that you can get a great meal, and Michael, the chef, the talent. Like
I've
you're
seen
saying,
you sitting down with all the patrons.
Totally.
And,
I mean, that's what you do as a
rapping and hanging out.
restaurateur. Like you're hugging people. And so we knew that we had to be that place, of normalcy. Also, there was no one coming in dining rooms. There was no one walking the sidewalks of downtown, right? The suburbs were, they were door dashing, which is great, and they were delivering and they were ordering out, but no one was really walking up to your storefront. And the chaos, right? Before we knew what we know today, a year ago, the solve to the pandemic's kind of crisis or issue at hospitals and our frontline heroes were just more hours. The solve was more labor. It wasn't strategy yet. Pop-up tents were happening, emergency, they were creating, expanding ICUs, expanding hospital beds, expanding, everything comes along with it. And what we found, we quickly discovered that those on our front lines were being quarantined themselves. So they're working, 12 to 24-hour swing shifts. They're being quarantined from their families. If they are working on ICU or kind of high tension, floors, they were restricted. And so we were finding that these individuals are out there working crazy hours. There was an opportunity to feed them well.
Oh, yeah.
And not like cheese sticks and croissant sandwiches, or apple slices at the end of a 24-hour swing shift. We knew there was a way that we could have a win-win-win, which was how do we go in and create stability within local restaurants, provide chef-made meals to frontline, heroes, and also find an opportunity such as a Dan or others, many of your friends and many on the show were sponsors. How do I identify an individual or a business within the community that could sponsor meals for the day? And so we ended up launching what is called the Healthy and Full Initiative, which provided chef-made meals to frontline heroes during the pandemic, and we sold thousands of meals over a course of about 3 months. And what that did is it kept our teams engaged. It kept payroll happening, it stimulated the workforce, protected their livelihoods, provided a great chef-made meal for the individuals that are out there risking it and working crazy hours, and then gave us an opportunity to highlight individuals such as you in the marketplace that were in a position that they could provide that. So this wasn't like a discounted meal, this wasn't a cheap meal. These are chef-made meals at that price point to protect the local restaurant and stability for the team, provide a great meal to a frontline hero and celebrate someone in the community. That was a big change for us.
That's cool because, again, being proactive during times of fear, right?
Yeah.
And seizing that opportunity, because what's interesting is if a lot of the other people in the industry were like head in the sand, right? And you were out proactively helping these frontline responders, though, and patrons, right? That's a big thing because mind share, because normally there's so much distraction from all the other advertising, all the other venues. Well, if you're one of the few people that's offering a solution, I mean, that relationship during tough times is much more significant than during good times.
What I didn't recognize, obviously, I believe that we've created, some great success as entrepreneurs and business owners. Same for you. What I didn't realize, Dan, is the sort of like fruitful byproduct of standing in to provide a value and a resource that was absolutely necessary in that time of need or crisis. To see the fruitful byproduct of our business today, those hospitals, those departments, those floors, those individuals, we literally are having now, we've had a handful visit Ginger Street right in the heart of the city that came in to say, hey, we thought it was incredible. While my mom was in the ICU, you were feeding the staff around her, and we saw the Ginger Street bags. We personalize. Every one of these meals gets a personalized note, of encouragement, like thank you so much for your work, your sacrifices. And I didn't realize the sense of community that would get built from just being thoughtful, and also seeing opportunity in crisis. And that's something that I say, I think, with confidence, that there is opportunity in crisis. It's devastating in many ways, but you, as a business owner, you have to remain flexible. You have to be ready to pivot as a survivor, because at the end of the day, as you know, business is about survival, right? It's about really coming out, and there's that old saying of survival of the fittest, and I think it's really survival of the quickest. When you're smart and resourceful and you pivot quickly. And our organization, we talk about being 70% right and 110% sure. We don't hesitate. We're right enough to get a plan and we go. Right? And I believe in our business, that makes a huge impact, I think, on our relevance as well as our ability to just recognize opportunity and seize the moment. We don't get overly caught up in perfect strategy, which is enough strategy, resource, and alignment. We call it activate and execute. Just activate your plan and execute, and we just go, go, go.
Smart.
And I believe that during a time of the pandemic, particularly gave us a unique position, and we grew. So
the wins in your sales now.
Yeah, totally.
All those relationships, all that goodwill.
Yeah.
And now that we're coming out of the pandemic, really, you're taking over this market, man.
I believe there's still room for some others, but we most definitely feel like our team, and we expanded a team, during a time when others were furloughing and letting people go, we started ramping up. Of course, we all experienced that, I think, in the end of March and early April. But by May, we were accelerating, and by June, my company, the McHenry Group, brought on a high profile, a high performance director of operations in the middle of a pandemic. If that shows the kind of work that we're doing, I saw opportunity, I saw a need through the Healthy and Full, as well as pivoting our businesses. And I went, hey, this is time to not double down. Let's triple and quadruple down during this time. And that has provided unique opportunity today.
It really is a head start, huh?
Yeah, it's wild. And I think, like any other business, Dan, there also gets a lot of noise, right? Like the restaurant business, there's a lot of noise. And would I ever want a global pandemic, national pandemic, to put people out of business or kind of correct, the overall industry? No, of course not. However, a correction needed to be made. There was some that I think that the past year proved you either are entrepreneurial and you are a true entrepreneur and business owner, or you just have the idea of it, because the real work, those that are at the table now that are thriving, those are the individuals you want to invest in.
You know what's crazy? You're saying you're 38 years old, right?
Yeah.
49, right, guys? So I remember the cycle in 2008, 2009.
Yeah.
And man, it was similar devastation economically,
Sure.
right? And I remember during the late 90s .com bubble, right? Similar thing. This cycle happens every 10, 12 years, this crap cycle, right? And it's really just a reset, and that's where you see like people who really have that entrepreneurial spirit shine and take market share. I remember in the late 90s, just in the Western region, we had 470 competitors, and after 2008, 2009, we had like 23. And then I remember in this 2008, on this last cycle, 2008, 2009, now it's just a couple.
Yeah.
And really, it's just like, who's going to go on the offensive when things are crazy? And we joke, there's the guys and girls that are left in our industry that are just rocking it. We sit on this little board together, and we're all friends, and we give each other courage, during those things. And it's cool because these are people that maybe we acquire their company later and those things. And you've got a lot of different projects going.
It's wild, Dan, to see. I will tell you this much. Leading into the pandemic, that competition was like really known, and there was much more of a divide. And I believe that, like in our business, I can speak to restaurateurs and owners and operators, we've become much more like arm in arm. We understand that it's a tough competitive business. We also understand what kind of percentage of the available market share we need to be wildly successful, and how when we go arm in arm, whether that be in collaboration or coalition or association in some way, I think the players now, there was also some relationships. We harvested stronger, better relationships during these challenging times. And I'm with you. I think those that rolled up their sleeves, that pivoted well, that created good success in this, are more relevant today than ever. Recently I was in a negotiation on a large property that typically looks for even a portfolio bigger than ours. Large, 8 to 9 figure kind of signature deals, and build the suit for large development groups. And what's interesting is we were starting to negotiate these deals, and I feel like we're even too rich for our blood early, right? And we've done, we've opened, directly or indirectly close to 100 restaurants. We're about to launch our 5th brand in under 3 years, because concept creation's our thing. But I found in this conversation that our relevance was almost stronger than the value of our balance sheet, which positioned us well with bigger deals, that coming out of the pandemic, they saw how we operated, and they see who we are and what we're creating, and the success that we've created in a short period of time has also qualified us for deals that I believe were too rich for us a year ago, that because of who we are and how we've performed has got us a seat at a table that I feel like was probably maybe 2 to 3 years away. And so there's some amazing things that happen when other people are watching how you're performing under these conditions. In fact, that's a good note that you don't oftentimes, you're so focused on your plan and your execution, we don't realize how much value we're actually creating from others from the outside looking in that are ready to position our talents or our value and their projects or opportunities.
The interesting thing is, I think a lot of investors and VC or equity funds or whatnot, they invest in the jockeys, and not necessarily just the horses.
Sure.
Right? Like your tenacity, and this is a great filtering, vetting time during the 8-9 cycle, during this last pandemic cycle. Who's got courage?
Yeah.
Because really, when things get crazy, they want to know that someone can push through like you did, right? And that makes it. I think that adds a huge multiple. More to your multiple than just pure, gross revenue.
It's interesting. I have a question for you, Dan. Obviously, as someone who's a great angel investor, who's obviously invested in multiple companies, has founded multiple companies and created success. It's interesting to hear the dynamics of that and understand how to see who the outliers are. And did you feel like, because of the success that I know that you've created during the pandemic time, did you feel like because you have that kind of level of confidence and ability to create success, did you find yourself in a place that you needed to share more of that with others? You had a responsibility to share the tenacity and the confidence that you had each day in this climate?
Well, what it is, it's been great doing this podcast during pandemic because there's so much fear out there, right?
Yeah.
And when people see courage, courage is built by practicing courage, right?
Sure.
And then you get momentum because you're like, whoa, this is actually working. But at first, it's always scary. People go, well, gosh, is there any fear? Obviously, tons of fear, right? But sometimes you just got to, draw out your plan, do the math that gives you more courage, right?
Yeah, sure.
And they say God is on the side of the army with the largest artillery and most ammunition. If you can rally some good reserves and ammunition, your campaign's got a good chance of success, right? And really, I always just say this is just like target shooting, right? I mean, really, if you've got lots of people on the target range shooting at one target, man, your chances of getting one in there, getting the right spot, I mean, it's pretty tough. You got like 100 other guys in there. But if everyone else is chickening out and there's only like 3 guys on the field,
sure,
right? I mean, like everyone's going to do well, right? That's putting rounds on the target.
Yeah, I think, and the reason I asked that, because I feel like also, like my association, who I've grown closer to as my relationships have expanded this past year, the relationships that have richened for me personally and for our business are, just far more experienced, I think far more kind of furthering and much higher value. And I don't just mean in terms of like monetary opportunity, investment in those pieces, but smart mind share. And I've noticed that even in, often how we even connected, like through friends and through peers, that those types of movements, when there's only 10 of you on this field of battle, right? And that could be 1,000, that number's arbitrary, but that 100 of you on the battlefield, now the 100 of you have direct association.
Think about your feelings, though. Think about your feelings. There's unicorns and vampires.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the two types of humans.
Yeah.
When you're hanging out with unicorns, people, like we're in completely different fields, right?
Sure.
But if they're operating at this level in their field, in the top one of the top 1%, right? Like that's
They're
only
colorful and flying.
Yeah, but it's going to spill over, and
Sure.
you're going to learn things of how to make your whole deal better. And so really, I think the big secret for you guys and girls out there is to really audit your circle. And look, if you know vampires, sometimes they're family members and you're kind of stuck with them, right?
Yeah.
But just lower your exposure. It's like watching your food cook in the microwave. Don't do that for too long. It's not good for your brain, right?
Yeah.
Like put it in there, cook it, and walk away, But make sure your exposure is to people that add energy, add value.
Sure.
And you guys can exchange value, right? That's...
And it
That's how you
duplicates
win.
in its likeness. That's the other thing. Like unicorns want to be with unicorns because they're sparkly and colorful, and when they fly, glitter comes off, and obviously that amounts to great money and opportunity. And same thing with vampires. Like they want to suck blood and chase people. And the reality is we talk often, and that's been an evolution for me, Dan. I would say over the course of the past 2 to 3 years is like really paying attention to like who you're running with.
It's important, man.
Making a huge investment in those individuals, because I'm an all-in talent. Like when I've committed to you, I'm all in. I don't know any other way. I don't have like some team members or partners that I'm part of the way in, or I create this sort of justification on like what I'm willing to do and not do. When I've determined that you're my guy, you're my gal, I'm all in. And that has been an evolution for me, that oftentimes these are great friends that over time just your relationships change, the partnerships change, things shift. And I want to be a great cheerleader and a great champion of kind of, prior partnerships and friendships and future partnerships and friendships. I'm also realizing now more than ever the importance of like who you actually are sitting next to. I've read the books, I've done the mentors, I've sat on the panels, I've won, I've failed. All of those things are a reality, and it's just now within the past couple of years that I've really start to see the direct benefits and realities of who I run with.
It's critical, right?
Yeah, it's just, I honestly, I believe that that's probably more important than probably any other thing in business, or where the mind share and thought partnership goes.
Major importance. I mean, I'm just thinking in retrospect over the last 30 years of doing, deals and business and things. And really, I invented nothing.
Yeah.
The templates are given to me by mentors, right?
Sure.
And I just took that and adjusted it a little bit, and made it its own flavor, and it was great, I mean, like you didn't invent food, right?
Yeah. I didn't invent food. I didn't invent service. In fact, if anything, in a world that continues to kind of in many ways kind of dehumanize, like become very, very virtual, very, very digital. And I think a lot of those processes and platforms and a lot of the discoveries that the brilliance and kind of sensei of your mind and wizards of your leadership are creating, I'm finding myself in hospitality. The more we lean into humanizing the experience, the more we win. The more that we take these platforms to drive efficiencies and viability and communication channels and conveniences, but still very much humanize the experience through the growth of just technology and AI and all the stuff that goes into it, we're so focused in the hospitality sector of like, how do we continue to just humanize more?
You've got it down, man. I think, I mean, sitting in a couple of your restaurants, your Pizza Place and then Ginger Street.
And Dirty Bird.
Yeah, Dirty Bird.
And our newest, I'm going to drop here, which is Sunday's Best, which is our brunch all day.
Don't want to go.
Yeah, it's like
Where's
elevated cocktail, Sandy.
Oh, it's like 5 minutes from where I am.
Literally 5 minutes from where you are, and it's beautiful. Like,
I'm gonna load up.
Super, just engaging vibe. You're gonna feel like you're in Miami.
Really?
You're gonna feel like there's this Miami vibe, like right in the heart of Sandy, and there's nothing like it. I mean, if there's something underserved in our community right now, is great brunch. There's great restaurants in the neighborhood and the community that happen to serve brunch on the weekends, but outside of diners, like good diners, no one really nails brunch every day. And if you want to show up at 7 and eat breakfast until 4 and brunch well and have a menu that has everything from ricotta pancakes to caviar to tomahawk steaks to a classic breakfast sandwich, and you want to get a $2, Bud Light, let's call it a $2, Bud Heavy, or a $600 bottle of champagne, they'll coexist in the same environment.
Dude, my ADD is killing me. I came up with a concept, and I don't know if it's
love
viable.
that. No, let's go.
Here it is. So I was just talking to some friends, and we're like, yeah, we should go to Vegas. They're like, nothing beats like poolside, having great servers, bring out great food that's super overpriced, but who cares because it's so good.
You're paying for the experience.
Yeah. And it smells like suntan lotion. It's great, and you're with all your bros and friends and girls and guys and everybody.
It smells like banana boat.
You got the cabana and everything like that. There's like no experience like that in Utah.
Yeah.
Like truly, but maybe it's too seasonal. But imagine if you could can that Vegas cosmopolitan pool experience or whatever that is, right? And give that experience to people locally. DJ in the pool.
Dude, Sunday's Best is that like birds chirping, champagne popping, like sun shining, brunch all day concept. Like our patio, 50-seat patio. I mean, it is DJ booth. I just don't have the pool. And we stare at the Wasatch Mountains instead of the Pacific Coast. But the reality is that's what we're bringing. It's so interesting to hear you say that, because when you walk in, when I say Miami, well, it smells like banana boat and it's beautiful. And everyone who's in there, it's like the essence when you pop the bottle of champagne, right, and you fill the glass, and that feeling of the bubbles and what's happening, that is Sunday's Best. And we're bringing it to the market, and it's not been done yet. And
I'm going.
See it in
it's open?
Oh, dude, it's not open yet.
Oh, when?
It opens a month from now. And dude, you're going to be on the list. We're going to style you out. Get your crew over there. We can't wait to style you out. But dude, it is the Cosmo-like feel, that Miami Cosmo feel in Sandy.
I'm gonna go.
And you got to help me because I want to buy the building, and I need your expertise on buying that building.
Cool. Yeah. Bye, dude. All right. I want to give the guys and girls out there share them a few virtual mentorship Jedi tips.
Yeah.
Maybe give maybe a couple of your most powerful ones to anyone out there who's thinking about starting their own business, their own restaurant, anything like that. Because there's a lot of people thinking about, well, I want to start a restaurant one day, right? And there's people all over the country. What would you tell them to do?
Well, I think first in our business, one of the most important things is it most definitely is the definition of a low cap, high return opportunity. I think that's one of the biggest reasons why restaurants fail. Because we say, hey, we have the world's best meatball. We're going to have the world's best business. And I'll tell you this, as a business owner, you have to have the acumen. Like, you got to understand how to run and operate a business. And it's not just operations and capitalization and concept creation, but it's the variety of it. So if you're out there as a young entrepreneur or someone that's working in a startup, get well-rounded. Like, pay attention, get mentors, and understand what it takes to run a good business, not just launch a good idea. Because good ideas fail under poor management, poor capitalization. And so get really clear on that, surround yourself. The next side is be absolutely unwavering in your pursuit. Because entrepreneurship and business ownership is hard.
Yeah.
It's hard. It brings anxiety. It brings challenges. It brings failure. It brings times when you have to justify that you're going to feed someone else instead of yourself. And there's a sacrifice associated with that. And I like to think about it, and I heard this recently, like, you shift into these sacrifices, and really what those translate to is an investment in a future outcome. And if you look at what you're doing today by providing that, kind of living on less, providing more till you get to that certain point, look at that as an investment in your future and your outcome. And so I think unwavering in your pursuit, unwavering in pursuit without question. And the next side of it, and something probably my biggest direct and indirect form and maxim of success, champion others to their fullest potential. When you champion others to their fullest potential, what you realize is, as the one doing the championing, you learn more and grow as much, if not more, than the actual student themselves. And so by committing to maximizing the potential of the people closest to me in my organization has created more success than any other maxim in our companies. And so be a huge champion for others, because that in turn you become a huge champion for yourself. And I'm a firm believer, like I never walk by a mirror that I don't appreciate. Like I look in that mirror deep every single day and I champion that guy that I see, because I know if I'm right, if I'm right for me, if I commit to me, then I can be incredible for others. And so just be a huge champion of yourself and others, because nothing will yield a greater result in my young career.
This is gold.
Yeah.
So learn how to operate your business correctly,
Yeah.
unwavering in your pursuit,
Yeah.
and champion others to their fullest potential.
Yeah. 100%.
That's the goal, guys. Write that down and execute.
Yeah.
Okay.
Many shares.
Where can people find you, to find your restaurants, to find you, to...
Yeah. I think the best way to find me, and it's a platform that I manage directly, is on Instagram. So my handle is just @MichaelMcHenry. So it's real simple.
Okay.
It's my name. Engage with me on Instagram. If you DM me, obviously be patient. I'll get back to you. But that's the best place to know like what we're doing at the McHenry Group, which we refer to as TMG, within our restaurants and our creation of things that we're doing. So obviously,
Where's the best place for people to actually meet you? Is like Ginger Street?
Dude, totally. So Ginger Street in the heart of Salt Lake City, Dirty Bird Fried Chicken, which is our Nashville hot chicken based in Provo, Oakwood Fire Kitchen here
So
in Draper.
good. That was ridiculous.
You can catch me in our dining rooms every day.
I know you're always talking.
Yeah.
You just hang out there.
Dude, every day, like, come in, say hello, create the association. Let me know that you saw Dan and I here on his podcast, chopping it up, and would love to see you tableside and host you anytime.
Awesome, man.
Yeah, bro.
Dude, thanks for coming on.
Yeah,
Thanks for
dude,
sharing the
thank
fire.
you, bro.
I don't think I've had too many people in the restaurant business,
Yeah.
especially because, I mean, how you do it is you germinate them to a certain size and a lot of
Sure.
times transact, right?
Totally, yeah. We incubate, prove viability at scale, and exit. Like, we're concept creators. That's, like, we love lifestyle brands, like creating unique experiences in our community through food and culture. And, you know, at times, like, I feel like we're more about, like, style and grace and food and connectivity, because we just love people and we love lifestyle. And so we build brands that are on trend or ahead of trend, or we believe what's going to be on trend. And so
I haven't been to one of your restaurants that I didn't love.
Yeah.
It's all been like, because you can tell it's got your template and formula of quality and excellence, you know?
Sure.
So it's...
Well, and you would appreciate this because you're just a car fanatic and a system fanatic, but it's like the motor and the frame. The motor gets more tuned, and the frame gets stronger and stronger in the suspension, but we just put a new body and paint job
That's
and
right.
driver on it. But whether you're eating at Dirty Bird or Provisions or Oakwood Fire Kitchen or Ginger Street or soon to be Sunday's Best and Sweet Talk, which is our inventive soft serve concept that's coming out here soon, it's interesting, but the back end, the motor runs the same.
The same.
Right? And that's just a bit of like when you find it and it works, you just refine it and tune it, get more performance out of it. That's what we do. Yeah, brother.
Guys, go eat at all Michael's restaurants. Follow him on Instagram, Michael McHenry, and on Instagram.
Yes.
And guys, thanks for joining us today. Again, this podcast isn't free anymore because you need to do 3 things. You need to execute, share it with friends and loved ones who may benefit, and take 10% of your net gains, give it to a great charity.
Yeah.
Guys, this has been Dan's Millionaire Code Podcast with Michael McHenry. We'll see you guys next week.
Cheers.